Take to the road on Saturday when they face the Iowa Hawkeyes, second-ranked team in the country and undefeated coming in. Iowa coming off a big win over Penn State last week. The Boilermakers coming off their bye week after falling 20-13 to Minnesota on homecoming at Ross-Ade Stadium. So Purdue right now 3-2 overall and 1-1 in the Big Ten. Saturday's game in Iowa City kicks off at 3:30 Eastern. And that means we'll have our broadcast starting at 2:30. Good evening, everybody. From Wolfie's in West Lafayette, it is the Jeff Brohm Show. We'll talk Boilermaker football with the head coach over the next hour. You can call in your questions or comments at 888-246-2678. We're on Facebook on the Purdue Athletics site. If you tune in there, if you'd let us know where you're watching from, we'll give you a shout-out if we can. And a little bit later on in the show, we're going to hear from wide receiver David Bell and safety Marvin Grant. But when we come back, we'll have the head coach, Jeff Brohm, join us. It is the Jeff Brohm Show, presented by the Rohrman Auto Group from Learfield.
Bodied by Terry, it's Nunji. On the dump, Haley Bush wins it for the Boilers.
Is it time to get rowdy?
Great job.
Yeah!
That's a kind of a match that can really change the season. Great job.
Each one of our guys they want to play. And they want to be a big part of us playing. And so we're going to have to, have some sacrifice within our team, like any team that's successful. I think the keys don't come down to the talent. The keys come down to the production from that talent and the sacrifices you have to make to be on a team. And that's hard to do. That is a hard thing to do. But we got a group of guys right now that are working really hard and putting in a lot of time and just trying to get better each day.
They've been working their tails off for us. The biggest thing is just changing that culture. In the 90s and early 2000s, Purdue was on top of the Big Ten. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to leave my alma mater, but with that opportunity comes, a huge responsibility. And I take a lot of pride in making sure we continue to work our tails off to make Purdue proud again.
Jeff Brohm Show. We're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Ross-Ade Stadium. Again, 888-246-2678 is our number. We're going to get to the phone lines in just a minute, but we want to say hello to the folks in Austin, Texas, who are watching us on Facebook. Hillsdale, Michigan. Floyd's Knobs, and I see what you did here, John. Indiana, thank you. Littlestown, Pennsylvania. Perwinkle, Kentucky. Not sure where that is. Maybe Jeff knows. Indianapolis Airport. Hopefully not flying a certain airline tonight. Sellersburg, Indiana, and Chesterton, Indiana. Thank you for tuning in. Have you heard of Perwinkle, Kentucky before?
I think that's someone in my subdivision.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the bye week. You had an opportunity to do some self-scouting. You had an opportunity to get out on the road recruiting. What were you able to get done here in the last week?
Well, shoot, it seems like it's been about a month since the last time we've been here. There was a lot of things that we worked on, and it's about getting better. It's about learning from our mistakes. Our guys have played hard. They're competing. They want to improve. We've got to score more points. We've got to do better in the red zone. We've got to be more efficient in that area. We moved the ball, got a lot of first downs and yards, but we were not efficient in that area. And we have not been for the last couple games. So we've got to maybe be a little more creative and figure out ways to get the ball in the end zone. And defensively, we've done a lot of good things. Our guys are playing hard. We're challenging plays. We haven't got the turnovers that you would like. So we haven't got as many possessions as you would normally get with getting turnovers. So we got to try to get some turnovers, and a few times we let some balls over our heads at safety, which we can't allow to happen. It's okay at corner occasionally if you get beat one-on-one, but at safety they can't go over our heads. So we've got to be better there. And in special teams, we've got to get some return yardage and be more efficient in the punt game. And we had one field goal missed with it's kind of weather related a little bit, but a lot of things to work on. What you got to do is you got to keep fighting, and we got a lot of tough football games coming up, and a lot of good teams that we're going to play. We can't give in. We've got to believe that we can get it done. Our guys got to continue to work hard. We've got to go out there and compete. But to this point, they have competed hard, and they've practiced hard, and they want to do well. So it's a matter of just concentrating on those small things a little bit more and going out there and executing at a higher level and finding ways to win.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Dale, one of our loyal listeners in Indianapolis, is called in. Go ahead, Dale.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I apologize in advance for asking the same question I ask every year, but I really need to understand the process on reviews, because I was under the understanding that every play in college football is reviewed. So on Minnesota's first touchdown, how is that not called down from the booth to at least take a second look at, especially when they had so much time to do it? And the second part of my question is, I understand why you didn't use your challenge flag in that situation, but in general, I haven't seen many college football coaches use their challenge flag. I was wondering why not. So I'll hang up, and good luck. Go get them.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. Actually, there is no challenge flag in college football. All scoring plays are automatically reviewed by the booth. Now, with that said, there have been multiple times in the last 4 years where I questioned a play. They said it was reviewed. They're moving on, and I said, no, I want to challenge it, which just means you would use a timeout. So if you have timeouts, you can challenge the play, and if you get it wrong, you lose your timeout. And I've challenged him, and actually was correct. So the replay booth was actually wrong and didn't overturn it until I challenged it. So that's very frustrating, but I try not to talk about the officiating a whole lot because it'll get me going as well. So that has happened multiple times. Actually, on this one play in the end zone, I was not aware that the ball came out and really was not informed of that. So I didn't really know to challenge the play. Now, as we look back on it, I'm not supposed to comment on plays that have happened, but as we turn the play into the office for review, let's just say they agreed with you and me that the play should not have counted and should not have been a touchdown, but they missed it. So you know what? It's gotten to the point I've tried to be a little nicer to the officials this year and not get so upset at calls like the ones that happen, because it can kind of get you frustrated and angry the rest of the game. And I try not to. I hope that it evens out. So at some point you hope that some of these calls even out and some go your way. There's not a whole lot I can do. Yes, if I would have known that it popped out, I would have tried to use a timeout, and you know what, they may or may not have overturned it. But every scoring play is automatically reviewed by the replay official and should be they should come down with the correct call. Unfortunately, they did not on this one.
Jeff, from a process standpoint, is there someone on the coaching staff or in the booth that is specifically looking to try to see if there's something that you need to call a timeout on or something to question?
Well, how it works in the booth is really they're subject to either did they see it themselves with their own eyes, or is the replay going to get on the TV for them to see soon enough? Mm-hmm. Normally, I get word on pretty much every one that, hey, I don't know if he caught this, or I don't know if this is a score, and we question it. This one, we really didn't have a great view. There was one coach after the game that said, well, he thought it came out, but you know what, they're supposed to review everything, so he just assumed they were going to review it. So it just didn't come about, because I was asked about it after the game and actually didn't know anything of it until I researched it. And of course, now I agree with you.
All right, we'll be back. It's the Jeff Brohm Show presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group. Back right after this from Learfield.
Bodied by Terry, it's Nunji. On the dump, Haley Bush wins it for the Boilers.
Is it time to get rowdy?
Great job.
Yeah!
Okay, that's kind of a match that can really change the season. Great job.
Each one of our guys they want to play, and they want to be a big part of us playing. And so we're going to have to, have some sacrifice within our team, like any team that's successful. I think the keys don't come down to the talent. The keys come down to the production from that talent and the sacrifices you have to make to be on a team. And that's hard to do. That is a hard thing to do, but we got a group of guys right now that are working really hard and putting in a lot of time and just trying to get better each day.
They've been working their tails off for us. The biggest thing is just changing that culture. In the 90s, early 2000s, Purdue was on top of the Big Ten. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to leave my alma mater, but with that opportunity comes, a huge responsibility. And I take a lot of pride in making sure we continue to work our tails off to make Purdue proud again.
Of Purdue Athletics, Rohrman Automotive Group, boiler up and hammer down. A lot of folks tuning in tonight around the state. We've got Wanata, Indiana, Cumberland, Kendallville, and of course the Fort. Texas is also dialing in today, and Glen Lake, Michigan. So thank you for watching, and we hope that you enjoy the show. And we're on every Wednesday now throughout the rest of the season. The bye weeks are done, so we're all the way to the final week, and that's week 7 of this stretch. So a lot of football yet to play. Jeff, we have a question here on the line from someone who wants to know, have you kept in touch with Rondale Moore at all during his rookie season? I don't know if you get a chance to talk to those guys that are playing in the league a lot with their schedule and your schedule, but have you had a chance to check in with him?
Well, we've exchanged tests before the season. Actually, during the season, I have not actually talked with him. I know our receiver coach, Coach Shepard, keeps in contact with him. And I think he's doing a great job. He knows he's got our support, and as you guys know, he's an extremely talented player. It looks like he's been healthy, which is great because he's made a lot of plays. He's on a team with a lot of talent, a great quarterback, other great receivers. They're playing at a high level right now. So, you know what? I knew when he got drafted, because actually Coach Kingsbury, I know him pretty well, and he called me, right after and said, hey, we got your guy, and we think he's going to be great, and blah, 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 blah. And actually, we've exchanged ideas before and talk, and he was fired up. And he said he didn't think that he would be there at that time, but when he was, they went ahead and took him. So they're loaded with weapons. And you know what? Sometimes it's not where you get drafted, or how high, but
right.
Where you get drafted, that's important. And he's at a great spot. I know Cliff would really utilize his talents probably more so than a traditional NFL coach, and they are. So he's doing a great job. He's healthy. He's made his family happy. He's taking care of them, so very proud of him.
Yeah, we see it all the time, Jeff, not only in football but in basketball, and you've got it exactly right. You've got to get into the right situation, and for him, First of all, they've got great talent at the receiver position and a dynamic quarterback, but he doesn't have to come in and carry the load right away, and he's a terrific complementary player at this point.
Without question. He fits in perfect. They've got weapons on the outside. They've got a couple other good slot receivers, a quarterback that's really dynamic and can run around and make a ton of plays. And so he's in the perfect spot, and they're hot, and hopefully they keep it going.
All right, let's go back. It seems like that game against Minnesota was about a month ago. The weather did not cooperate. We were hoping for a dry day, always hoping for a dry day, not just for our fans because it's homecoming, but also a little easier to throw and run the football. You got off to a pretty good start, though, and it felt like a game at halftime. You were leading 13-10, but it felt like it should have been a bigger lead at the half, and unfortunately it wasn't enough in the second.
Well, I and our staff have relived it quite a bit, and the outcome was not what we wanted. And unfortunately, when you went back and looked at it, we had twice as much yardage as they did. We had 28 first downs and their 12, but we did not get the ball in the end zone. And second half, we were a little bit limited with possessions. They made some drives and controlled the ball. We moved it up and down the field. We just couldn't get in the end zone, and that's been a problem the last 3 games. Every game we've played, we've had more yardage than the other team, but we have not had more points in 2 of the games. And really, that's what it's about: scoring points and winning. So we've got to adjust some things. We've got to work at it. We've got to get better. When we get down to the red zone, we've got to put it in the end zone for a touchdown and an extra point, and that has to happen against good football teams to win. If that happens, then we're sitting in a better position. But that's life. You got to work through it, and you got to realize the mistakes that you're making and try to find a way to get better.
You had a chance in this last drive to go down the field, and Aiden took the team down inside the 30-yard line, and he threw a pass I'm sure that he would like to have back on the second down play to T.J. Sheffield, where it looked like he broke open, and then unfortunately they bracketed your guy on third down and got the pick.
Well, Aiden did a lot of good things. He really made a couple outstanding throws, which that is what his strength is. It was raining pretty hard in the second half, and we were able to throw the ball and be fairly effective catching and throwing it, and he was very accurate. At the same time, he has a tendency to want to get rid of it too soon at times, which can be a problem because some of our receivers are not open enough yet. They haven't allowed them to come out of the break. So he's got to buy a little more time, sit in the pocket, let the route develop. And then occasionally, if things aren't there, he's got to be able to hit the check down and run it. And unfortunately, on the last interception, they had been playing a cover 2 coverage. We had been trying to, squeeze it in the hole on the sideline, and we wanted to try to now squeeze a curl inside of it, and they changed the coverage. And they doubled the outside receiver. We had a check down open over the ball. They just got to deliver the ball. It's just third down. And he tried to throw it early, and it got picked off. So, that has hurt us at times, is interceptions and the turnovers. And we've had interceptions in the red zone, and that's really what you can't have happen. So for him not being a tremendous athlete, he has to hold it a little bit longer, find the check down or throw it away, or occasionally run up in there and just get us back to the line of scrimmage or live to play another play. But we cannot have turnovers in that area.
All right, we'll be back with the head coach in a couple of minutes. It is the Jeff Brohm Show, presented by Rohrman Automotive Group from Learfield.
Hey, out, baby. 25th year. They probably ain't gonna understand what I'm talking about. Past interference that these people won't challenge. I got inside my to make sure I don't panic. I took interest inside the car, now my whip panoramic. I went hard and became a star. Now everybody want a candy.
Let's ride, baby, let's ride. Keep bringing it every day. I said it in my press conference. Play with a chip on your shoulder. All right? People think we are done. People think there's nothing about us anymore. Okay? Play with that chip and get this place right. Why not? We don't have to wait 3 or 4 years. Let's get it right now. Let's get it right now. Okay? Every day we bring it. Every day. Let's go. Good job. Nice work. We got boys on 3. 1, 2, 3.
You give your best and it's good enough. Jogging is not your best. Jogging is not your best. Travion's going to run here to that cone and run back here. Whoever's up there, you're going to run. You're going to run your hardest. Let's said, you can't play this game and turn it over. So you're catching the ball one-handed, you're passing the ball one-handed, you're jogging. All you got to do is give your best. That's all you got to do.
Raven Colvin, of course, coming in and doing really well.
First Big Ten match for Raven Colvin, no problem. Raven Colvin, get out of the way. Davis turned back. Raven Colvin with an explosive night.
An Iowa Hawkeyes, 3:30 Eastern Saturday from Kinnick Stadium. The next home game, by the way, October 23rd, will be a 3 o'clock kickoff against Wisconsin. That game is sold out, as is the game at Iowa this weekend. I want to get back to the phone lines. Apologize for leaving David from Carmel hanging for a while. So, David, thank you for hanging around. And what's your question for Coach Brohm?
Good evening, Coach. A couple questions for you here. The first question I have is with regard to our punt return team. You've mentioned a couple times wanting to be more efficient and get more yards out of that team. One thing I noticed during the Minnesota game in particular, they had a punter that was striking the ball pretty well and pretty consistently putting the ball over our head. It didn't seem, at least from the stands, that we were making too much of an adjustment to have our returners start deeper. Even when we put Anthrop out there to kind of be the second punt returner in further down the field. So I was wondering if that was something that you guys noticed, because clearly we were losing a lot of yards not only by not being able to return the ball, but going over our head and then rolling down the field. Credit to a good punter, but thought that was something maybe we could have adjusted to. And then the second question I had was with regard to, I know you get a lot of questions about injuries and are updating players a lot, but I haven't heard much about Mershawn Race lately, and I wanted to see how he was doing. Thanks, and have a good week this week.
Okay, well, that's a good question, and actually your first observation, you are 100% correct. So going into the game, actually their punter had not punted well. He had not punted very far, and his average was not good. So we did have our punt returner a little bit shorter, and he kicked it well the entire game. So yes, we probably should have moved him back even farther. There were a couple that he really boomed, and just so you know how we operate, our special teams coach knows that I hate not catching the punt. Like it is something that burns me up. So we have to go catch the punt. So without question, we've made adjustments to, our base rule. No matter who the kicker is or what he's shown on video, we want to make sure. I don't want to give all away our secrets, but we want to make sure we're at the proper depth and the ball, does not go over our head, and we catch the football. At the same time, we did put 2 returners back there, and actually both of them were too shallow. So we've got to adjust where they're both at because we want to catch the ball, and we want to get guys back there in position to do that. And we hope that the one that doesn't catch it can at least be an initial blocker for the punt returner, who just give him just a little bit of room to hopefully just make one guy miss and get at least a few yards, if not more. So we have worked extensively on that this week. The team we're about to play is about as good on special teams as you're going to find. They have a punter who's probably tops in the country, but we still have to find a way to catch the football, do not let it roll, and get some yards return it. So we worked very hard on it. We worked hard on it again today, but you are correct in your assessment, and field position is critical, and we did not win the field position, and that cannot happen. The second question was
Mershawn Rice. He asked about that. So let's give a little bit of an update of not only Mershawn, but who may or may not be back for you this week.
Well, you're asking a lot of questions there. So Mershawn, unfortunately, hurt his foot and will have surgery on his foot. So he will be out the rest of the year. And he was really coming along. He's a big physical receiver. He has been injured quite a bit since he's been here. So he finally got on the field, and he really has shown good things in practice and was going to be a player and in the rotation and have a bright future. Unfortunately, he has to have some things done to get his foot fixed, and he will be out the rest of the year. And Abdur Yassim, unfortunately, got injured last week in practice, and more than likely he will be out for the rest of the year. So, you know what? you know, those are key receivers that we don't want to lose. But you know what? We've got to adjust, and injuries happen every year. And unfortunately, you know, I'm sad for both of those guys because they've worked extremely hard. I mean, extremely hard, and they both came around. Abdur came in a couple games ago and really made some great catches coming off a knee injury. Unfortunately, you know, he got injured again. So, you know what? We just got to get him healthy and try to keep the ones on our team as healthy as we can.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to David Bell. It's the Jeff Brohm Show presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group from Learfield.
Off the block, 10-6 Purdue. Pushed over by Cleveland. Terry drives it down. Otek keeps it up. Cleveland wins the point. Colvin. Volleyball standards, that is extraordinary.
Yes, it is.
Booted up by Otek. Over to Newton. And Purdue wins the point on the Terry from the back. What a dig by Hornung. Bodied by Terry, it's Nunji. On the dump, Haley Bush wins it for the Boilers.
Sent in by Gray toward the middle of the box. As we approach under 5 to go. The ball lofted up for Baker. Baker trying to spin around and make a play on it. Van Loon has it, and Van Loon puts it in the back of the net for the Golden Gophers. Right off Dunaway. Dunaway lofting that one up. Finds Matthews. Matthews, yes, gets it in! Emily Matthews fights through the defense.
5th goal of the year for Emily Matthews. You're going to see a setup all the way across the field. Top of the 6, she takes the angle shot, bam, into the bottom left.
Griffith left side. Griffith lofting that one up. Headed up, and it's an own goal for the Golden Gophers. Delaney Stecker headed the pass from Sarah Griffith, and it finds its way into the back of the net.
We've seen some crazy things at Folk Field this year, David, but I did not expect the equalizer of this game to be an own goal. Delaney.
Bowman puts her right foot into that one. Ward gets a foot on it. Boba goes for the save. Lambert tries to clear it out. Out to Griffith. Griffith. Right side of the box. Gets a right foot on it. Far side of the goal. And Sarah Griffith gives the Boilers the lead. Just over 4 to go.
11 goals this season for Sarah Griffith. That could be her 3rd game winner and the 3-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year of the week, showing what she can do.
In the corner, as the time will run out here at Folk Field, and what
We're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Ross-Ade Stadium. It's time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are Boiler-made. Congratulations to Adam Schenk, the Boilermaker graduate who had his best showing yet on the PGA Tour. He tied for 3rd in the Shriners Children's Open in Las Vegas. He actually led the event after 54 holes, but finished in a 3rd-place tie. Kevin Plawecki, the catcher for the Boston Red Sox, still alive in the Major League Baseball playoffs. He and the Red Sox will be playing the Houston Astros in the ALCS. Kevin has played in a couple of games so far in the playoffs. And Anthony Brown of the Dallas Cowboys had a pick-6 against the New York Giants last week. Anthony has a couple of interceptions this year and 8 for his career. And our guest is someone that I assume at some point here in the near future we're going to be talking about in that Pro Boilers feature. David Bell from Indianapolis joins us. And David, let's talk first of all. There were a lot of people really concerned about you a couple of weeks ago at Notre Dame. How are you feeling, and what do you remember from that play?
I'm feeling fine, mentally and physically. I'm back to myself, but I really don't remember much from that play. I don't remember waking up on the field, but I remember waking up in the locker room and being surrounded by my family. But it was very scary for me and also my family also.
Yeah, probably a lot, since you don't remember, a lot scarier for them because they do remember it, and thankfully everything turned out okay. You know, one of the things we've talked about is your amazing ability to catch the ball in one-on-one situations. How much of that goes back to your basketball days?
I think a lot. It has a lot to do with it. You know, being able to box out defenders and high point the ball. So playing basketball as a young boy, and it really translated over to the next level.
People, I think, know that you played on some great high school basketball teams as well as football teams. Was there ever a decision or a big decision for you to make in terms of which sport you're going to major in or go with?
I don't think it was. I think I had an idea that I wanted to play in the NFL one day, and I knew that I'd end up playing college football one day also.
Well, you had the opportunity to go to a lot of different schools, and you chose the one about 60 miles away from your hometown. Why? What was it about Purdue that drew you here?
I think the main reason was just to stay close to family. As many people know, my grandmother's handicapped, and I wanted her to be able to come to the games. And also Coach Brohm, you know, he's a great offensive mind, and I believe in what he does.
You know, we talked to Coach Brohm earlier in the show about Rondale Moore and the success he's had as a rookie in Arizona. How much of that was a factor as you saw how they used Rondale as a freshman to getting you to West Lafayette?
I think it was a huge factor, but I knew coming in that he would still be the guy, and I knew I have to play second to him. But when opportunity came up, I knew I had to step into that role and become the guy.
Now, it'd be easy for me to ask what you learned from Rondale. What did Rondale Moore learn from David Bell?
I think one thing that he learned from me is that, you know, you're not always going to be able to be that number one guy like he is in the league. You know, he's playing with D-Hop, A.J. Green, and those such guys. So I think when he played with me, he kind of learned how to share the ball a little bit.
You had a big milestone in the last game. You went over 2,000 yards in your career, one of the fastest Boilermakers to do it. I know that you can't compute all that stuff when you're on the field, but does it surprise you when you find out after the game where you stand in some of these records?
It definitely was surprising. You know, unfortunately we lost, but it was definitely a huge honor and a big accomplishment for me to surpass that milestone. I really didn't know I was that close until the end of the game, so I was definitely happy, and my family was very excited also.
David, when we're kids, we love to go out and play in the rain. What's it like to play a college football game in the rain like we had a couple of weeks ago?
It was not fun at all. You know, as a kid,
a little different.
Yeah, it's different when you're grown and having to go against other grown men, but as a kid, it's very fun. But I have to say, playing a college football game is not fun at all.
You can hear the rain ping off the helmet, can't you? I mean, I remember playing, and that's distracting. To hear that rain go off like that.
Ping off your helmet, get in your eyes, so it's very disturbing when you have a chance to play in the rain.
Well, the great thing about playing in the Big Ten is you have the opportunity to play on the big stage early and often, and you get that opportunity again this week. You're playing the #2 team in the country on national TV on their field in front of a full house. I would imagine the adrenaline will be flowing pretty high on Saturday.
It definitely is. Coach Brohm always say you don't get too many of these opportunities, and I think this is a great opportunity to show the world what we're capable of.
David, along with excelling on the field, you've been an academic All-Big Ten selection. Talk about that balance. How do you find time to do the schoolwork along with what you have to get done in football?
It's definitely tough, but we have a great academic staff here at Purdue University, and they do a tremendous job of making sure that we stay on top of everything, and they work with everyone individually just to make sure that we turn in our work, study for our exams and stuff like that.
Well, David, I can tell you, listening to the Hawkeye coaching staff this week, they are well aware of #3. You've burned them a couple of years in a row. Let's make it 3 in a row, and let's get another win in Iowa City.
Yes, sir, I got you.
All right, David Bell joining us. Coming up next, we have Marvin Grant with us as well. It's the Jeff Brohm Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group from Learfield.
Bodied by Terry, it's Nunji. On the dump, Haley Bush wins it for the Boilers.
Is it time to get rowdy?
Great job.
Yeah!
Okay, that's a kind of a match that can really change the season. Great job.
Each one of our guys they want to play, and they want to be a big part of us playing. And so we're going to have to, have some sacrifice within our team, like any team that's successful. I think the keys don't come down to the talent; the keys come down to the production from that talent. and the sacrifices you have to make to be on a team. And that's hard to do. You know, that is a hard thing to do, but we got a group of guys right now that are working really hard and putting in a lot of time and just trying to get better each day.
You know, they've been working their tails off for us. You know, the biggest thing is just changing that culture. You know, in the 90s and early 2000s, you know, Purdue was on top of the Big Ten. And, you know, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to leave my alma mater, but with that opportunity comes, you know, a huge responsibility. And I take a lot of pride in making sure we continue to work our tails off to make Purdue proud again.
Jeff Brohm Show. We're live at Wolfie's Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Ross-Ade Stadium. Let's catch up here on Facebook. We're getting tuned in today from Philadelphia, Elnora, Indiana, Lockport, Illinois, Galveston, Indiana, Orlando, Florida, South Bend, and Newton, Kansas, along with New York City. And right now we're tuned in with Marvin Grant, who is a starting safety on this year's team, a sophomore from Detroit. I was just asking you during the commercial break, growing up in Detroit, whether you grew up a Lions fan, which right now would be hard to do, but you said you kind of adopted the Saints as your team, right?
Yeah, I like the Saints. And I also like the Bills too.
See, now that's for me because you know it's been tough being from Buffalo and being a Bills fan for the last 50 years. Yeah. We're enjoying this run. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we're going to enjoy it.
It's looking good for the future.
Let's talk about the Boilermakers and the season so far. I asked David in the last segment what it's like playing in the rain as an offensive player. Do you like it, or is it hard to play as a defensive player in the rain like you had a couple of weeks ago?
Nah, it's not really hard. It's just, I mean, it's really harder for the offense to keep the ball, so it's really the ups for us. So the biggest thing is just tackling, keep grabbing, you feel me, just stand on the tackler, making sure they don't break tackles and all that. Yeah.
Well, they always used to say they line the kids up during the first day of practice and put the puddle out there. The kids that ran through it go to defense. Kids that ran around it go to offense. So maybe you're a through the puddle guy.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play offense growing up too. I can still do something with the ball, but I'm a defensive guy.
Well, have you lobbied the coaches all to be a two-way player? You know, use those offensive skills.
I mean, maybe one day. As of now, I'm trying to focus on what I got.
We got some pretty good talent on the offensive side. Yeah. What brought you here from Detroit? Well, why did you choose the Boilermakers?
Pretty much just the coach up here. It was I like the coach. I like all the coaches that was here. I like all the coaches that's here now. But it was just a great place, great atmosphere, and it was just a nice culture that I wanted to be a part of. I seen that my class, well, the guys I came in with, that we can come and help change some things, and I really believe in that, and that's basically what we're doing right now, trying to help change.
You mentioned the coaches, Marvin, and you had not just one, but you had 4 different coaches coming in on the defensive side. How is it different? How is the structure different, and the attitude in your defensive rooms now?
Right now, I feel like everybody is just more on point. We're way more on point than we were last year. Everybody just putting in extra work. Like, you can see the guys, everybody just wanting to get better each and every day. So, yeah, I just said that, like, we way more on point than we were the past years.
I mentioned with David an academic All-Big Ten. You've been an academic All-Big Ten selection. How do you balance schoolwork and football in a very difficult time frame?
I mean, when it's time for school, it's time for school. It's time for football, it's time for football. I mean, of course you want to put the extra work in with football, but you got to balance it out because you're a student athlete. And until where I want to go in life, I mean, I'm going to have to balance it out and keep good grades. And they also my coach talks about it all the time and how it translates on the field too. So you just practicing good habits on and off the field.
The good habits are good habits no matter where they are. Right. Let's talk about the stage you're on this week. Number 2 team in the country, a chance to make a statement, put the Boilermakers on the map. What's your thought going into this weekend?
I got a lot of confidence in the world, me and my guys. You know, we preparing and we locked in right now. So they said when they played Ohio State a couple years ago, it was locked in. I feel like we locked in right now, so we ready.
Well, Marvin, we'll be looking for number 4 to make some big hits and maybe a pickoff or 2. That wouldn't be bad on Saturday, would it?
I'm trying to get one.
All right. Well, good luck this week against the Hawkeyes.
Thank you.
All right, coming back, it'll be the head coach with us on the Jeff Brohm Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group from Learfield.
Hey, out, baby.
25th year.
They probably ain't gonna understand what I'm talking about. Past interference that these people won't challenge. I got inside my to make sure I don't panic. I took interest inside the car, now my whip panoramic. I went hard and became a star. Now everybody wanna candy.
Let's ride, baby, let's ride. Keep bringing it every day. I said it in my press conference. Play with a chip on your shoulder. All right? People think we are done. People think there's nothing about us anymore. Okay? Play with that chip and get this place right. Why not? We don't have to wait 3 or 4 years. Let's get it right now. Let's get it right now. Okay? Every day we bring it. Every day. Let's go. Good job. Nice work. We got boys on 3. 1, 2, 3.
You give your best and it's good enough. Jogging is not your best. Jogging is not your best. Travion's going to run here with that cone and run back here. Whoever's up there, you're going to run. You're going to run your hardest. Listen, you can't play this game and turn it over. So you're catching the ball one-handed, you're passing the ball one-handed, you're jogging. All you got to do is give your best. That's all you got to do.
Raven Colvin, of course, coming in and doing really well.
First Big Ten match for Raven Colvin, no problem. Raven Colvin, get out of the way. Davis turned back. Raven Colvin with an explosive night.
Automotive Group is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of the Jeff Brohm Show and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. Rohrman Automotive Group, boiler up and hammer down. Let's see who's checked in here on Facebook. We've got Kokomo, Indiana, Lowell, Indiana, Danville, Kentucky, Mooresville, Zionsville, Indiana, DeMott, Indiana, and Evanston in Illinois. Evanston, Illinois checking in tonight as well. We can't talk about specific recruits, but just a general overall feeling because your staff was able to go out and see some high school prospects over the week. Where are you right now in the whole recruiting process?
Well, I really feel like recruiting's gone very well. We've been able to get quite a few guys to commit. We're more than far along on this upcoming class. At this point, really, we're just kind of saving some room for any additional transfers that we think at the end of the season can help us. Guys that maybe have experience, that are older, that are veteran, they can come in and help us in areas that we will need help. So, you know, our coaches all went out on the road, including myself. We saw quite a few guys, a lot of guys that are committed to us, and things have gone very well in that regard. So we're just continuing to develop that relationship because guys have not signed yet. That won't be until middle to late December. And, you know, quite a few of those probably could be here, you know, mid-year as well. So things have gone very well, and we just got to continue to, you know, keep our eyes open for the next, you know, young man that can help our football team win.
We haven't talked a whole lot yet about your opponent this week, the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're at 6-0 coming off a huge win over Penn State. And the one thing you look at with Iowa, you can talk numbers all you want. They've created 20 takeaways this year on defense, and since the start of the 2017 season, they were a plus 49 in the turnover battle. You're going to win a lot of football games when you're that high in the plus column on turnovers.
Well, right now they're playing at an extremely high level. They've always been a very disciplined team that, you know, plays great defense, controls the football on offense, tries to excel and get an advantage in special teams, and that's their formula, and they've been very good at it. They have some big linemen on both sides of the ball. They're physical. They've got a really good running back, a quarterback with experience, excellent tight ends, a couple receivers that do a decent job for them on defense. Really, it's about keeping their eyes on the quarterback, playing a lot of zone coverage, and getting interceptions, getting turnovers, and not giving up big plays. And our first year or two, we were able to hit a couple big plays. They actually have adjusted their defense a little bit to make sure that that doesn't happen at all, and they've been very good at it. You cannot, our teams at this point through 6 games have not found a way to get big plays. Numerous teams have turned the ball over. Maryland came in there thinking they were going to throw the ball all over Iowa, and they had like 5 or 6 interceptions, and it was over by halftime. So you've got to be very careful and cautious, and you've got to be very calculated and take a few chances, but at the same time you've got to try to move the ball, be calculated in what you're doing. And on defense, you have to stop the run, and you have to find ways to get turnovers. And it's going to be one of those games where we have to try to win that battle to stay in it, to have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. You see the positive things that can come out of consistency with Iowa, because Kirk Ferentz now in his 23rd season with the Hawkeyes. It's really not a secret what they do from year to year, although, as you mentioned, they do some tweaks, but they do what they do really, really well. Without question. They're a team that we've studied quite a bit, especially on defense. But Coach Parker, their defense coordinator, has been there, and he's done it for a long time. They're just very disciplined, and their eyes are on the quarterback, and they read route recognition, and they find ways to bait you into making a throw, and to get enough pressure on you with their front four that if you have to throw it a little bit early, they're going to break on it and make a play. So they're going to be very calculated in what they do, disciplined in it, and like I said, they've just been running this scheme on both sides of the ball, and they do a very good job of it. And you have to figure out a way to get a few big plays, and you have to try to beat them at their own game, which means you have to win the turnover battle, or you will be in for a very long day. All right, final segment of the Jeff Brohm Show, presented by the Rohrman Auto Group, is coming up from Learfield.
Bodied by Terry, it's Nunji. On the dump, Haley Bush wins it for the Boilers.
Is it time to get rowdy?
Great job.
Yeah!
That's kind of a match that can really change the season. Great job.
Each one of our guys want to, they want to play. And they want to be a big part of us playing. And so we're going to have to, have some sacrifice within our team, like any team that's successful. I think the keys don't come down to the talent. The keys come down to the production from that talent and the sacrifices you have to make to be on a team. And that's hard to do. That is a hard thing to do. But we got a group of guys right now that are working really hard and putting in a lot of time and just trying to get better each day.
They've been working their tails off for us. The biggest thing is just changing that culture. In the 90s, early 2000s, Purdue was on top of the Big Ten. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to leave my alma mater, but with that opportunity comes, a huge responsibility. And I take a lot of pride in making sure we continue to work our tails off to make Purdue proud again.
The makers in the Iowa Hawkeyes on Saturday. We were talking during the break on some of the things that Iowa does well. And, you usually don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the other team's punter. This guy's special. Torrey Taylor was the Big Ten Punter of the Year last year, and he has an unbelievable knack for kicking the ball inside the 20 and inside the 10 and making you drive 80 and 90 yards.
Well, they've been very good at it this year. They're forcing the other team to drive that far, and he's outstanding. He can place it where he wants it. He's got a big leg. Their special teams has been good for years. They're doing outstanding to this point this year. So it's just a way of figuring out a way to have the ball bounce our way a little bit, make our breaks, be aggressive in our approach, and we've got to get some return yards. We've got to catch the punts, and then we've got to do a good job punting the football.
Yeah, you mentioned their return guys. It seems back to the days of Tim Dwight. Iowa seems like they've always had guys that can run back kickoffs and run back punts, and they're dangerous in that area.
They're very good, and they've proven again this year.
They have a great atmosphere at Kinnick Stadium. It's one of those, it's not the biggest stadium in the Big Ten, but the fans are right on top of you. Now, you've had success over there. You won one of the 2 matchups that you've had there, and you've won 3 out of the last 4. What is it that you think has been successful in those 3 wins in these last 4 years?
Well, I think that we have the ability to throw the football, and against their defense, in my opinion, other than Ohio State, you're not going to face tremendous throwing football teams, but against these guys, you have to be able to throw the ball. They stop the run, and they stop it really by not really loading the box. They just use their linemen and their linebackers, and they line up for the pass, but they stop the run. So we were fortunate enough the first year to hit some balls over their head, which didn't happen much, and really it was 3 big plays we had. Our defense played well, and then the second year we scored a lot of points on them. We hit some more big plays. Riley Moss, their corner, who's done outstanding, we actually threw a couple balls over his head. He was a little bit too aggressive, and Terry Wright got behind him, and Bryson Hopkins got down the middle on him a few times. And they don't give up those plays anymore on film. So unless you can really throw the football, it's a hard time getting big plays. So you've got to be very methodical and make sure that you get positive yards and figure out a way to sneak in a big play. And they've gotten better and better at that every year. And this past time when we played them, they turned the ball over on offense, which hurt them. Like I said, we've got to beat them at their own game a little bit and then find ways to create some points.
I said at the very top of the show, it's a challenge for the Boilermakers on Saturday, but it's a real opportunity too. You go into there taking on the number 2 team in the country, you've got a chance to really make a statement on Saturday.
Well, this is what you ask for as a player, especially, and also as a coach. And it's a great opportunity for our team to go out there and showcase what we're all about. It's a road game against an opponent that's extremely hot, playing at a high level. And you know what? We want to improve, and we want to, go out there, and our guys need to take this challenge head on and, be aggressive in their approach and go for the win. And, I think that what we've been telling our team all along is, you have to believe you can do it. Like, there has to be a true belief. And then you have to say, you know what, I'm going to go get it done. And you have to make it happen. And those things have to happen for you to win. If there's any type of doubt or you don't think you can happen, you might as well just stay back and don't go on the trip. But we need a bunch of guys that believe that they can get it done and that are willing to do whatever it takes to figure that out.
Looks like it's going to be a great day for football with temps in the low 60s. No chance of rain as of right now on Saturday. And, Jeff, good luck against those Hawkeyes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, again, the Boilermakers and the Iowa Hawkeyes Saturday. 3:30 will be the kick. We'll have our pregame coverage starting at 2:30. And then the October 23rd game against Wisconsin has been announced as a 3 o'clock kickoff. That game, by the way, is completely sold out. Our engineer tonight is Wes Scott. Our producer is Ray Clapmeyer. Again, we're here every Wednesday night from 6:05 until 7 o'clock. We're at Wolfie's in West Lafayette. We hope you tune in throughout the rest of the season. Also, by the way, the Matt Painter Show will be starting 2 weeks from Monday, so that'll be coming up on November 1st. Thanks to OG Dave and all the folks here at Wolfie's. We'll see everybody again next week. You've been listening to The Jeff Brohm Show and Boilermaker Football from Learfield.